Good morning. My name is Robert Franz, Chief Warrant Officer 4, retired, United States Army. I'm a member of the Chatham Public Ceremonies Committee. I would like to welcome you to the Town of Chatham Memorial Day observance for 2022. I'd like to start our program with the Pledge of Allegiance by one of our scouts. I've already picked him out, and so he knows to come forward at this time. Now, the tendency is for everybody to kind of go real quick. He's leading us, so please, let's follow him as he goes into the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I was trying to get someone to help lead me in our national anthem. Normally it's not much of a problem, but I'll go ahead and start, and hopefully you'll all join in. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, through stars and bright stars, through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly seen, and the rocket's red glare of bursting in air, they flew through our night, where our flag was to bear. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Bravo! I wish you could all hear how beautiful you sounded from up here. Please take your seats. The last time we met in person for Memorial Day was 2019. In 2021 and 2020, our Memorial Day observance was a virtual ceremony put together by Channel 18, and it was very nicely done. However, it is still good to get together in person, so thank you for coming today. People sometimes confuse the meaning of Memorial Day and Veterans Day, two holidays established to honor the men and women who have worn the uniform of the United States Armed Forces. While Veterans Day is intended to thank and acknowledge all who have served honorably in the military, whether in peacetime or during war, Memorial Day is set aside when we honor the men and women in uniform who gave their lives in service to our nation. When the stakes were highest, they answered the call and made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. From the opening battles of the American Revolution, the members of our military have built upon a tradition of honorable and faithful service. With that in mind, this seems like a good time to remind everyone that directly following this observance, there will be a dedication of a Revolutionary War memorial at Chase Park, and everyone here is invited to and encouraged to attend. Please welcome noted Revolutionary War veteran, Colonel Godfrey, to tell you a little bit about that dedication.
Thank you. Today we dedicate the Revolutionary War Memorial at Chase Park.
No, that's good.
They didn't have this in my day. I'm 272 years old. Come on.
So in Chase Park, we're dedicating that memorial today to the 50 families from Chatham who contributed to the American Revolution. You're all invited to come to this dedication. And after the dedication, up at the windmill, the colonel with his little hands made some cornbread. So you can have some cornbread and cider at the mill afterwards. Now, when I leave here, after this ceremony, the scouts will leave with me, as will 2 students from the high school, a piper, and I'd like 25 of you to follow me, if you would, up through the town. No more than 25. I have promised the police department this will be a very small contingent. So if you want to attend the function, drive up to Chase Park and you can see us. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel. I've been involved with the Memorial Day in Chatham for quite some time. For many years, it was what I like to call a moving ceremony. We would start here at the World War I Memorial and then move to the different memorials throughout Chatham, ending at Veterans Circle, commonly known as the Rotary. In 1917, the United States entered into World War I, known at that time as the World War, the Great War, and the War to End All Wars. General John J. Pershing, the General of the Armies of that time, said of our World War I veterans, their devotion, their valor, and their sacrifice will live forever in the hearts of their grateful countrymen. The inscription on this World War I monument reads, erected in honor of the men and women in Chatham who left their daily task among us to serve our country during the World War 1917-1918, and in honor of those who made the supreme sacrifice. Noble in life, noble in death, may their memory inspire us to be faithful in the line of duty. At that time, few could imagine the many conflicts still to come that would put further demands of duty, honor on country, on so many, much less the supreme sacrifice so many would have to make in the line of duty. From here, our procession would proceed down Main Street towards the Rotary and then bear right down Stage Harbor Road towards Oyster Pond. On Memorial Day 2015, a World War II monument was dedicated in Dickerson Park, adjacent to the Rotary, and this became a new stop. The inscription on the monument there reads, World War II, 1941 through 1945. All who served made possible our lives today. To accomplish this, many heroic service members gave their lives. We will always remember this special group of Americans who died on distant shores defending our nation. After the Battle of Iwo Jima, Chester Nimitz, a fleet admiral of the United States Navy, stated, uncommon valor was a common virtue. In a radio address to the nation, President Franklin D. Roosevelt described the service members who served in World War II, the pride of our nation, who struggled to preserve our civilization. The fallen from that fateful war will always be remembered. They hold a cherished place in the history of the United States and in the memories of the people they liberated. The greatest generation. Though they didn't coin that term, and rarely, if ever, referred to themselves as such, they earned that distinction. We salute you. From the World War II Memorial, we would continue down Stage Harbor to Oyster Pond, where we would lay a wreath in the waters for those veterans who lost their lives at sea. The custom of spreading flowers on the water began in 1901. This led to ceremonies where names of each ship during a battle that was lost was announced. Each name was greeted by the solemn ringing of a bell and the reply, "She does not answer, sir." There at Oyster Pond are the Korean and Vietnam Memorial. The inscription on the monument there reads, in honor of the Korean and Vietnam veterans of Chatham, 1950-1975. The inscription on the Korean War Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. speaks volumes for both wars. our nation honors her sons and daughters who answered the call to defend a country they never knew and a people they never met. The Korean War is sometimes referred to as the Forgotten War. That has to be somewhat troublesome for those veterans who served. To them, the Korean War would never be forgotten. So far, our procession has followed a timeline from World War I, but here is where that would change. Our next stop would be the Civil War Memorial located at the corner of Main Street and Seaview Street. The procession had a Pied Piper-like effect, and as we moved from site to site, the procession continued to grow. How many people remember back in the day when we were that moving ceremony? Please raise your hands. The inscription on the Civil War monument reads, "Erected by the town of Chatham in memory of those that fell in the rebellion of 1861 to 1865. Here, President Abraham Lincoln, sounding a little bit like Scott Hamilton, would deliver his Gettysburg Address. It is still one of my fondest memories from those ceremonies. During a 3-day Civil War battle at Gettysburg in early July 1863, there were over 51,000 Union and Confederate casualties, with over 7,000 deaths. A portion of that battlefield was dedicated as a National Soldier Cemetery. President Lincoln was not the keynote speaker for the dedication, but he had been asked to speak briefly. His speech consisted of 272 words, lasted 2 minutes, yet became known as one of the greatest speeches ever made by an American president, or really for that matter, by anyone. I'm struck by the last sentence of the Gettysburg Address. To me, it defines the purpose and meaning of Memorial Day. That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain. That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Appropriately, Memorial Day had its beginning shortly after the Civil War and was known then as Decoration Day. This was a day to place flowers on the graves of all who had given their lives in America's bloodiest war. The procession would then depart the Civil War Memorial, led by Sarah Marcia, playing a period tune on bagpipes, and return to the Rotary for concluding remarks. Fittingly, Sarah will now play Going Home. The first time she played it, for us, was at the dedication of that World War II memorial in 2015. Sarah Marcia. By 1915, few Civil War veterans remain, and traditions seem to be fading away. The American Legion and the veterans of foreign wars rekindled the tradition of honoring our nation's war dead after World War I. To support their efforts, they sold poppies made by disabled veterans. The poppy, a bright red flower, had become a symbol after World War I battle in Belgium. After the battle, the soil in that field was rich with lime, and the poppies thrived. This created a striking contrast between the rows on rows of white crosses and the vibrant red flowers. Major John McCrae, a Canadian surgeon, was moved by this sight, leading him to write one of the most memorable war poems titled In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place. And in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. On Memorial Day, as we gather to honor the men and women in uniform who have given their lives in service to the nation, we also pay tribute to our living veterans and those currently serving in our armed forces for their dedication and sacrifice to America. If you are a veteran, or if you are currently serving in the armed forces today, or if you just happen to know somebody that is, please raise your hands and we thank you. I think that's my dog barking over there. Before we conclude, I would like to remind you about the National Moment of Remembrance. Established by Congress, it asks Americans, wherever they are on Memorial Day, to pause at 3 p.m. in an act of national unity. The moment is to provide a time of remembrance for America's fallen and to make a commitment to their memory. The time, 3 p.m., was chosen because it is a time when most Americans are enjoying their freedoms on this national holiday. The moment does not replace traditional Memorial Day events. Rather, it is a moment in which all Americans, alone or with family and friends, honor those who died in service to the nation. The idea for the moment was born when children touring the nation's capital were asked what Memorial Day means. The majority responded, "That's the day the pool opens." A poll revealed that only 28% of Americans know the meaning of Memorial Day. Most view it as a day off, rather than a day to connect with our nation's history. The moment of remembrance is to remind us that Memorial Day is more than just a 3-day weekend, and hopefully it will help put the word memorial back in Memorial Day. So please, at 3 p.m. today, pause and remember why we are here. And though Memorial Day is a day to remember our veterans who have died in service to our nation, I would like to acknowledge those who have passed away in recent events. For part of the year, I work at a national memorial, and I tell the story of Flight 93. When I talk to adults, they remember that day. It's more me reminding them of certain details. The same thing is true with Memorial Day and Veterans Day. That's why it's important for me to see the youth here. They are the future tellers of every story. One day they will be telling this story. And we are all saddened at the recent loss of life of so many of these innocents. Please keep them and their families in your thoughts. Please remember their story. Today, as we gather to demonstrate our gratitude to the proud patriots who made the ultimate sacrifice in defense to our nation. We remember those that lay at rest in quiet corners of the world and throughout this nation. They will always live on in the families who love them and in the soul of a nation that is safer for their service. Let us pause now for a moment of silence.
While the storm clouds gather far across the sea, let us swear allegiance to a land that's free. Let us all be grateful for a land so fair as we raise our voices in a solemn prayer. Please join me. God bless America, land that I love, and beside her, and guide her through the night with light from above. From the mountains to the valley, to the ocean, from the
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that concludes the Town of Chatham Memorial Observance for 2022. Thank you for coming. Colonel Godfrey will be lining up through this aisle here shortly in a moment, and the 25 that are fortunate enough to walk along with him. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
Are we gonna go get the